Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Apologies for being a few minutes late. Harry Trades is doing his marathon monthly gallery reviews today, and he had a whole bunch of new members, which was awesome to see, but they were also taking up all his time. And so he's on, I think he started at 10:30 my time. So he's at like 3.5 hours right now. And he knew I was going live at 2 o'clock. And he was like, I'll be done by 2. And he's not. And frankly, I hope he doesn't stop because everybody was excited to see what he had to say about their galleries. And Harry's a beast at it. And I love Harry. And I was watching myself until about a minute ago. So I actually thought about pushing the start time of this one back just because of Harry, but I didn't, obviously. Anyway, thank you to everybody for coming. Looks like Anyan, Durs TFT, which I don't know this one. Wish I had a cup of tea right now. And Malky on the podium. Congratulations to you three. Malky said, everyone wants to be the hero who will save Sorare. Just stick a cork in it and play. Or not. That's great. Rude, what's up? Forend. Fort. That's 4ND for those who are listening. That's a wonderful Sorare inside joke that I hope never goes away. I really do. Anyway, Sorare Strats, what's up? Speaking of doing Sorare content on YouTube, Rivals is in front of me, but I think we all said no. Pro is still cool, though. Rivals is, I don't feel comfortable. Well, not that I'm uncomfortable about it, but I feel like I'm not the best person to talk about Rivals because I just never really got into it. But I had plenty of friends who did. Sorry, I got like weird hair sticking up. And they loved it. Still going. Anyway, and it was really cool, and everyone was having a good time, and the rewards were fun. And then it just wasn't. And I have like 180 tickets, and I don't play. And I wish I loved it. I really do. It felt like it reminded me a lot of the DFS grind, which I eventually hated by the end. And I think that's why I don't love it, because it's just like the constant, like, oh, the line, not that there's like pressure with Rivals, but like lineups come out and who are we going to pick? And I just, the constant grind, it was just so much if you want to be competitive. And my favorite thing about Sorare is lineup crunch is twice a week. Let's even call it 1.5, because I've basically blown off midweeks at this point. And Rivals is just, it was just too much for me. It was just too much. Anion said, I took XP very serious once in-season sales started, and now I'm leading the XP on almost all limited Liverpool in-season cards that can score. Wow, that's awesome. That's a lot of fun. Toby, what's up? Dan, Fist. I think we just found a new way to spell fist. So we're Juju's back. What's up? Nils, Shaforkle, Mikey Bastin. So it's all about the game and how you play it. Yeah. I mean, it should be, right? Toby, today was on purpose, though, being late. Sora Malta, hello. Sorare Burrow. Tobe said, I was into Rivals and then the rewards nerf and I barely played. Yeah, I mean, I think that happens. I think that happened to a lot of people. Agent Cooper, who needs Harry? We all know Laird carries the show regardless of who he's on with. Oh, Harry wasn't actually going to be on today. Harry and I did a very fun show yesterday together. And so it's not that I was waiting for him to come on. He has done that before. Last month, he did his gallery reviews, 3.5 hours live streaming. And then he came on the Sorare Data Show and did like another hour and a half, whatever it was. The guy is an absolute beast. Anyway. Goose said, the only fun I had in Rivals was getting decent rewards unexpectedly. I was surprised by a reward. Yeah, I think that was kind of, I think I mentioned that before on this channel, so I'm not going to like go down that rabbit hole again. But people said Rivals was fun because of what you could win. And I think Sorare misinterpreted that as the game is really fun and people will just play. And then they took the rewards and reduced them. And then people didn't find it as fun. It's weird how that happens. Anyway. Toby said, I think they could have nerfed it in a better way than they did. I mean, there's never like a good way to nerf something. Like, hey, here's less, but this is why you should be happy. We have less. And you're just like, oh, what's that? Um, the so yeah, quick thing. Now that we're a couple minutes in, as a reminder to everybody, no Sora Data show tomorrow. That would be Thursday, November 28th, or Friday, November 29th. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving in the US. Might be everywhere else. I don't know. Or, wherever they celebrate Thanksgiving elsewhere. But, and then Friday is, I'm just not going to work on Friday. Sorry. It's kind of a bummer that it's a lineup day. That's good. That's where my life of being someone who works for Sorare Data, which is obviously dedicated to being helping you be good at Sorare, and then me also just being a Sorare player. That on Friday morning, it's the deadline is 10 a.m. for me. So on Friday morning, I usually like sit down. I watched Quinny and Harry on the deadline stream, do my lineups, and they're usually done already, but I tinker a bunch in case there's any news and whatnot. And so now, like this Friday, like I should sit down and do that because like still a lineup deadline day and all that stuff. And then literally my entire family would be like, I thought you weren't working today. And it's like, well, this is kind of the point that like is not really working, but I don't think that's really working. But we'll see. Anyway, Toei said they completely removed the jackpot feeling of winning a good card any random game, no matter how small the chance. Now you need to grind for a week for that jackpot chance, as it's just too long a time. Is there even a jackpot now for Rivals? I don't even know. Mike said Black could have put himself out and done tonight. After dark with Black after Thanksgiving dinner. It's funny. So Andy and I were talking about that. We're like, oh, we were joking of like, oh, we'll do a Sorare Andrews like live from each of our Thanksgiving tables. And then I was thinking of asking him to come on today, but it's like most people work kind of like half days the day before Thanksgiving here, and I didn't want to like throw that at him in case he had other things. So Sorare Andrews will be back next week. Don't worry. Goose said, after the essence nerf in boxes, I want to win level ups again. Is that bad? How funny is that like we would consider it bad that you like prefer one reward over the other? Prefer whatever you want. I don't want them because I have a lot of them, but that's just me. Daniel said, who is going to break the news to him that he's not allowed days off and he always has to be here to entertain us? Daniel, I don't even work Saturday and Sunday. But I do actually, Daniel, on this point, I'm glad you brought this up because not that I feel like an obligation. Maybe I do. I don't know. I appreciate that the Sora Data show has become a daily, has become part of the daily routine to a lot of people. Obviously, not just me. I'm here all the time, except tomorrow and Friday. But I appreciate that it has become part of the Sorare experience for some people. And I really, really appreciate that because it's work. Like I appreciate that you guys are here every day. And I kind of like, I do like to joke around that this is like a fake job and all this stuff, which you can feel that as much as you want because there is some truth in it. But it kind of makes me realize how much of just the overall Sorare experience for a lot of users has very little to do with like our lineups and the rewards that we win, which is funny because those are like kind of the two most important things. But with all the, the different discords that are out there or Telegram groups or people just yelling at each other on Twitter, usually not in a healthy way, but there's some healthy banter, I guess. And this isn't like the community is so great and like that's what keeps me here. Like you're not going to keep playing Sorare just because the community is great, but it is kind of a more encompassing experience than just buying cards, putting them in a lineup, and seeing if I win a box with one essence or two essence in it. And is that right? Two essence? essence is the plural of essence, right? It's not like essences. Like you're not even winning. Like the capsules look the same. That's kind of what's weird. Like a 20 essence capsule looks the same as a one essence. Anyway, so I appreciate that the Sorare Data Show has become part of your daily routine. And I thank you for tuning in, whether you are here live and put up with me being late by a few minutes pretty much every day, and or you listen back on Spotify while you're getting your hashtag Sorare steps, even for those 2x speed psychos out there. Thank you very much. This is, the Thanksgiving tomorrow, so I have to be thankful for things, and I'm super thankful that people are entertained enough, I suppose, that you keep coming back, because this channel and all of these videos, whether they're just like when I'm here by myself, or when Gator Guy is on, or PSU, or Harry, or we have other guests come on like Quinny, or Surfula, or all the other ones that we like bring in, and it doesn't happen without people contributing to like the conversation about Sorare. And it's like one of the things that my wife like asks me, and she's like, how is there something to talk about every day? And even in the instances where we don't have a specific topic, here are the best U23 players coming up, or what are the best N5s in the next over the next month for champion, or hey, who are the best classic cars to play in season? Something always comes up. And I'm not talking about like when we start talking about pineapples and mint sauce, or whatever the hell you guys call it, but there is always something to talk about. And a lot of that conversation comes from you guys, not from me. I'm not here deciding what everybody talks about today. And so what's really great is how interactive, either on this channel with like the live chat, which I'm ignoring for the last 10 minutes, or what people are saying on Twitter, whether it's good or not. I don't want to say good or not, whether it's productive or helpfully critical as opposed to just whining. There is always something to talk about. And while Sorare Data is kind of the place that we pride ourselves at being like, we have the data that you need, I like that we've also kind of become somewhere you go just to hang out and talk Sorare with other people, because we like talking about it, like all of us, or you like hearing it or watching it, whatever. It's really refreshing to be able to like have these conversations with people. And so thank you for doing that. Let's get back. Tom Brimson, I might be alone in thinking Rivals is in a good place. It shouldn't be aimed at us. I won several really good cards, such as Danny Olmo, just for winning 3 games in a row. That shouldn't be possible. Why can't it be aimed at us, though? Tobe said, yeah, you can win cards in the weekly rewards if you win your division. Oh, okay. Okay. Soramoto, parsnips did not make it into the Thanksgiving menu this year. I kind of forgot about that. Sorare Josh said, with how many other podcasts and shows have stopped, we appreciate the daily content even more now. There's only so much you can talk about when it comes to Sorare. See, I disagree. I mean, we all obviously will like repeat conversations, but I disagree that there's only so much you can talk about. I think it's infinite, but we really test the boundaries on that. And yeah, it is kind of disappointing that a lot of the other podcasts and shows have stopped. And I understand why they did. Like, I think there are a lot of people who the game has just kind of moved beyond them. And when that happens, like, why do you want to keep talking about it? And so, yeah, and I think that's why. Daniel said, just like real life football, it's not actually about winning. It's about the journey and the connections you make. No, I think real football is about winning. AJ Cooper says, wait, what? You can get plural essence? Pretty sure my recent reward boxes disagree. Surface to air missile knows you can win. Tobe said Alexander Newell 3 conceded and an error led to goal against Red Star. Wow. Is he on a 0? Let's find out. Let's see. We can do this together here. I'm just going to go to the games page, to be honest. Where is Newell? Here he is. Oh, and they can see. Look at Seo Young Woo. Let's go. An assist. Get in. I'm not even sure I played him now that. Yeah, didn't even play him. Unbelievable. Look how, did you see how excited I got that he just got an assist and then realized he didn't play him? Or I didn't play him? What a donkey. Me. I'm the donkey. All right, so Newell still got positive AA. Man, what a result that is. Anyway. Hatlian, who I saw got his gallery reviewed by Harry Trades. I entered a lineup in Cap 220 before L15's update, and now I can't re-enter it because I'm 34 points over, thanks to the Luke Shaw previous 0. Sucks that I can't use the button now because it will cancel it. It will not cancel it if you just don't have Cap 220. Like, it doesn't override. Like, if you didn't have Cap 220 in your lineup builder, it will not override that. Pico's player said, wait, where is Sean lately? Sean works. Sean's like full-time. I don't know if it's full-time, whatever. Sean spends a lot of time working on American college football, which the season is basically August to December. And he works like 39 hours a day doing that. And so finding the time to not only do his like Sorare lineups and all the stuff that he does Sorare wise, I think he's just, I don't want to say he's like disconnected, but he is. And so I've been trying to make sure that this is going to sound like I'm putting Sean down, which, like, if I was going to do that, you guys would know that I was doing that. But basically, I'm trying to have people who are more connected to the game right now on the channel with me to talk about it, because like, how much is Sean going to talk about when he's really like only thinking about like his lineups and his players? And I don't really want to bring him on and put him in this weird position where I like ask him stuff about what's going on and he's just unaware of it. And more, it's not his fault. It's just like he has other priorities. People get busy at work, and then, you know, the more work you do at your actual job, the less time you have for Sorare. And that's kind of just where he is right now. And so that's why. Oh, Toby said just that. Yeah, you can use the button. Just don't do a Cap 220 lineup. Daniel said, I try to make sure I'm sat at my desk answering emails during the show so I can listen along. Much better when I'm getting days off for Thanksgiving. There we go. I'm really disappointed at this Laird guy for ending looking up. That was not me. Don't you dare put that on me. You can put all of your complaints to the guy who doesn't do any Sorare content now, of the 3 that were on that show. Mike said, I think a lot of us don't actually have real life people within our circles who also play Sorare. So these communities and social forums are what we need. If we didn't have these, this would be dull. Totally agree. Absolutely agree. Because yeah, I don't know anybody in real life that plays Sorare. The people that I know in real life that play Sorare, I met because of Sorare, if that makes sense. Why did I not play Seo Young Woo? That's a great question. Because I have a bunch of lineups. And yeah, I don't know why. Sorry, I'm scrolling through them. Yeah, that was a big L for me. Again, I like really struggle to care about midweeks. And so I probably could have used them somewhere. But honestly, I got very excited, and then I was like, oh man, and now I'm over it. And Sormalto said Seoul can't hit a 60 against Kuwait and Palestine, but turns into prime Maldini against Stuttgart. Gotta love it. Yeah, I mean, maybe I just didn't think. Maybe I didn't think. Ryan Dino said, seeing a player score well to then realize you didn't put him in a team is a perfect example of a so rare experience. Totally. Yeah. uh, just like, oh, what was I doing? What is Sean's job? It's a good question. So the Sean works for a site called Establish the Run, which is a popular fantasy sports site here in the US that focuses primarily on American football, but they also do college football, which Sean is a big part of. Like he runs it basically with a very good friend of his, and they also do NBA, and they might do other sports. I don't know. I don't really play them anymore. Mostly daily fantasy, those sports, but so they're all like subscription. It's a subscription site, so you pay to get stuff. And I think Sean does a lot of like the projections and news and stuff like that that you need to do. And like during the season, that's very busy. Like my old job, like when I was at RotoWire, I used to do a lot of NFL stuff, and just like the August to January is like super packed because obviously there's like a long off season, and so you're essentially doing like 12 months of work in 4 months, and it becomes a lot. And so I totally understand like why that would put him kind of separate from So Rare at this point, because it's his job and he makes more money doing that than he does playing So Rare. And that's it. John said, I switched my gallery to just 3 Bayern stacks and I'm loving the ease. I guess. I don't think this game is about ease though. Toby said, wow, putting all the blame on Sam. I'm not putting blame on Sam. I'm just telling you why that show doesn't exist anymore. And speaking of that show, Harry Trades, my apologies for starting while you were still going. I didn't really want to dual stream there, but I didn't start late. Well, I did, but I didn't move the start time. I probably should have done that. There were enough people in the chat already that I felt bad being like, "Oh, hey, you're here," but we're going to be 15 minutes late. Brian Dino said, "Did anyone pick up the NFL license for this season after the other game stopped? The other game would be DraftKings Rainmakers. I don't know. I wouldn't think so. I really can't see So Rare doing the NFL right now. I just don't see it." Peter Espinoza from Twitter, or X, if you're one of those people. Recently, I started not looking at my lineups once throughout the game weeks. I wait until all matches are played to check results. So much less stressing about holding on to places and rewards. Anyone else go this route? It's funny you say that. I will look at, like, I don't scroll through my lineups anymore. But what I do is I have notifications on. I have notifications on my phone for Sorare data on the mobile app to get notifications every time one of my players has a positive decisive action. And so when that happens and I feel like it, I will click on that. It'll bring me to the game page, and then I can click on the player, and that'll show me the lineup that the player is in. And then I'm like, oh, that lineup is good or it's bad. And that's it. And so, but I very rarely like just scroll through my lineups. I will say that I've stopped hiding lineups, and I don't know. Well, the reason I did it is because I looked back at a previous game week recently, and I knew that I had played a player, but I couldn't find him in my lineups, and then realized that they were hidden. Like the lineups stay hidden, and so I just stopped doing that just so that they're there. And mostly because, again, like I tend not to scroll through all of my lineups, and I don't know if it's healthier, but that's what it is. And then if I happen to be having a good week, I'll scroll through and just be like, oh, do I have any others? But one of the weird things that's happened recently is, and actually it happened this past game week, I sent a screenshot to Harry on like a Saturday, maybe it was Sunday, and I had 7 relegations. And I was just like, wow, that's really bad when you have like, I think I had 35 lineups. Like 7 relegations is really bad. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Midtjylland haven't played yet. And I ended up getting 1 relegation because they came back. They played on Monday. And I think they played on Sunday the week before. And I have a lot of Midtjylland cards. And so I feel like recently I've had a lot of like late game week players, Sunday, Monday. And so like scrolling through my lineups on Friday night or all day Saturday or even like most of the day Sunday just didn't make sense because it was like there's so many cards missing that it didn't even matter where I was. And so I ended up I don't scroll through it. John H, if you could start again with your gallery, what would you do, Laird? It's a good question, John. Let me get back to that. Tobe said Sorare NBA is fun. I'm hit or miss. I'm hit or miss. BTC and me, what's up? Thanks for coming in. Toby said I check my scores obsessively. Yeah, I mean, Goose said, in my opinion, Sean is at its best when there is news or a hot topic to give his opinion on. Without a hot take, Sean isn't prime Sean, in my opinion. I totally agree with you on that. And there really hasn't been much going on. Like, I have no interest in bringing Sean on and being like, hey, why do you hate divisions? Like, I don't need to have that conversation with anybody, let alone with somebody who I just don't think that's I don't think it's a fruitful conversation for anybody. And in all honesty, and I've kind of mentioned this before, pretty much on my like solo shows here, but I've grown tired of addressing complaints about the game, and I want the content on this channel to be not that like I'll ignore negative things that happen if there's like a reason for me to opine on them, but for my own mental sanity, I need to focus on the game more. And I need to focus on like how to be better at the game, and complaining about aspects of it that I have no control over just doesn't get me anywhere. And I don't think it gets anybody anywhere. And so if that's, and I'm not saying like Sean would just like come on and complain about things, but I agree. When there's like news and there's something new, that Sean is absolutely at his best. Totally agree. And I think the reason why Sean is so good at that stuff is because he has a really good ability to read like new rules or some sort of update and decipher it easily and quickly. And so there have been so many times I know throughout the last few years where it's like, so we're making an announcement and they're like, hey, this is it. And everyone's like, wow, that's really cool, blah, blah, blah. And Sean's like, wait, what about this part here? And everyone's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. And he's like, and that's the point. And Sean is like very good at finding, I hate to say like finding the weak points, but he is, and gives us something to kind of like talk about in that respect. And I think my favorite one was when they moved the game week deadline that basically split up the K League or K League and J League like on Friday. And they were like, we're going to move it up, but like, it doesn't affect that many games. That's what it was. And Sean was like, it doesn't matter how many games it affects. If you have 5 cards, 2 of them play in one mid game week and 3 of them play in the other game week, you have 0 lineups. And that's the problem. And everyone was like, didn't really think about that. And like, he got that immediately. And so I agree, but like, there really haven't been that many announcements lately. And like, I think he actually was on for the whole Essence nerf thing. And so, but yeah, I don't like the idea of just bringing people on and putting them in a position to be like, hey, just destroy this or whatever. Or come up with something. And so I realized I was for a while putting Sean in positions where he was like talking about either things that like he didn't really care about, which is not really fair to a guest. Where it's like, hey, Sean, what would you do with $100 limited gallery? And it's like, that's just not his forte. So like, why am I bringing him on to do that? And so that's why it's like, not that that's the only reason that he hasn't been kind of more consistent, but I think I needed to do a better job of bringing Sean on, because Sean is very smart, and being able to get his kind of viewpoint on certain aspects of the game is really valuable. But there are also some that just like, it doesn't matter. Like I don't care what Sean thinks about limited anything. And so it's yeah, that's the point. Sean getting a lot of airtime tonight. It was just, I mean, you guys brought it up. Ironically, Sean getting a lot of airtime, and Sean hasn't been on in a while. Tuggy said the worst part of having notifications on when you go to bed with a nice Asian stack lineup and wake up without any notifications. I would actually say, Tuggy, the worst one is, and I don't think we do this because I don't sign up for them. I don't think we have them, but the so rare notification that your goalkeeper has a clean sheet after 60 minutes, and then knowing like the K League and J League is overnight for me. And so, or even some like Liga MX is kind of late sometimes, MLS. I don't stay up that late. And so I'll wake up and it's like, oh, Ezekiel Unsane has a clean sheet after 60 minutes. And I'm like, sweet. And then I'm like looking for the next one that he finished the game with a clean sheet. And it's like, it's not there. And you're just like, oh, great. Mikey Basson, big fan of love the late game week players. We used to call those late game hammers in DFS. Those were like mostly because they were daily. So it's not like we had to wait a whole game week. But it was a strategy that really made no sense. But it was like, if you get it, everybody's like, oh, the best plays are early. And it's like, all right, I'm going to get these late guys because like they score more, even if they don't score as well, you're just like, I got a late game hammer coming. Sorare Malta, the worst thing about Sorare data notifications is waking up after my K-League games are over and seeing my goalkeepers with a clean sheet at 60 minutes and not the full-time notification. Oh, same thing. Same thing. Terrible way to start a Saturday morning. Toby said, bring him on to talk constructively on how to fix super rare and unique. I mean, if that was an easy conversation, we would have had it. Sean's also the person who, in response to Quinny saying, I think a Sorare World Championship where we put in lineups and compete against each other on a global leaderboard would be fun. And Sean's like, how about the Playboy Mansion? And you're just like, oh, wait, what? I don't know. Mike Basson said, lost another clean sheet, 97th minute this time. I don't even know who's playing right now. 97th minute, lost clean sheet. Girona? No, they conceded early. I don't know. Toby said, I'm miles away from playing either, but it would be a fun topic to hear him talk about. So what's actually kind of funny about hearing about Sean talking about super rare is that I think super rare in season is a really interesting it's a really interesting opportunity for some people. And Sean obviously has like one of the bigger galleries on the platform, and he stays away from it. Like he pretty much just plays classic. And I think he would agree that from an ROI standpoint, it probably makes sense. But I think the monetary like risk of getting the super rares and all that stuff, and obviously in certain competitions you're playing against Pranksy and Bellama, but Sean's like lack of playing in season is interesting to me. Like he loves classic. And I think because that's the game like he's always played. It's always kind of been about that. And I guess winning podiums in D1. But fixing super rare and unique is like, if it was, not that I'm saying like Sean would come up with like an easy solution, but it's a difficult one. And the problem is that like cash prizes fixes it, but probably doesn't, like it fixes it from the user standpoint, but probably not from Sorare standpoint. And so then you're just like back to, all right, what can we actually offer? And nobody knows is the answer. Sorry, just checking on some lineups here. Anyway, 5-1. Wow. Is Surely Nubel's at 0 by now. 3.3. Still going. 4 saves. Wow. Xiao Young-woo do anything else? Not really. Yeah, I blew that one. Bummer, dude. Anyway, what was the topic today? It was something about playing the game in front of us. Is that what we said? Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's all it was. Kind of talking more about what we can do to win in the game. And that's what's going to be more of the focus on the channel right now. And I was having a conversation with Gator Guy, and I've mentioned it here also, that I think with the amount of complacency among a lot of users on the platform, it's a great opportunity to win, to like compete to win. And that's what I think we should be talking about from now on, which I'm hoping to do. And it's pretty much like what Harry talks about. Like Harry's channel is all about that. Quinny's too. Speaking of Quinny, if you want a positive point of view on Super Rare, Quinny is the guy. So I actually said this to Keith. I think it was this morning. I got an offer for one of my Super Rares today, and it was extremely fair offer, which was disappointing because it wasn't like a ton of money, and Super Rares used to be a ton of money. But the my conversation with Keith was essentially the reason I didn't want to sell this card. It was a super rare contender forward. I'm fairly certain I have previous classic card. I'm fairly certain I've said that super rare classic contender is the nut low of so rare. And I have not changed my opinion on that, but I still play it because there's something about it that I really like. And I just like owning and playing super rares. And it's disappointing because they really aren't that great, and they don't really provide much in terms of winning. And so, yeah, but I wanted, so I was saying the reason I was going to most likely turn down this very fair offer is because I have so many super rare contender cards that I need it for lineups. And it's not like a smashing card, but it helps me make lineups. And I didn't really want to go through the effort of finding somebody to replace him. And maybe I'll change my mind in terms of either replacing him or not. But yeah, it was something. Tove said, speaking of the game in front of us, I did notice you added a couple Napoli defenders and it intrigued me. So I looked into it and now I have an Oliveira. So it's funny. I was going to buy Oliveira last game week. Last weekend. And it started here. And I was going to apologize because I don't really like talking about my gallery, but I'm going to do it anyway. But I've recently decided to start playing Champion in season. And so I bought this Alex Merritt and Alessandro Buongiorno, which means good morning in Italian. And so this was going to be kind of like my defensive stack. I looked at Oliveira instead of Buongiorno. Buongiorno scores better, but he's also much more expensive. He does play consistently for Italy as well. So I was going to get Oliveira, but Oliveira was coming back from international duty, plays for Uruguay, I believe. And I wanted to play them last game week, and I was nervous that he was not going to start. I found some like random article written in Italian that said he was not going to start because of the trip back. So I bought Buongiorno, and obviously Oliveira came back and started. But then I was like, all right, I bought these two cards. These are kind of going to be my basis for Champ Europe. And this is not like the best way to play, to like have to run the same goalie and defender every game week, but it's a work in progress. So I was like, if I have these guys, then I should get some collection pieces to help. So I got this Cyril Nganj. I don't even know if that's how you say his name, because it was a special edition card for $7.40. I then traded with Sutonio for this Rafa Marin and this Nikita, not this Nikita Contini, a different one, because they were both still in their wrappers. And I opened them, and neither of them were jersey mints. Excuse me, were special editions, which was disappointing. And then I think Basil had this Giovanni Di Lorenzo jersey mint, and I'm just absolutely addicted to jersey mints. And so I got it, and then this was after the game week. Of course, Di Lorenzo scores 100 this past game week, not in any of my lineups. And then somebody was selling this Contini jersey mint, and so I sold the other Contini I had back to Sutonio so that I could buy this Contini jersey mint. And so this is the Napoli collection I have. Cyril Ngange. I don't think that's right. Sorel. Ngange? I don't know. Maybe. Tope said, yeah, for me, it was between Oliveira and Rachmani, cheaper than. Yeah, so I almost got Rachmani as well, or instead of Buongiorno. And I just was like, I might as well just go for it. Malky said, I don't see Big Scott or Wee Billy in that collection. Shameful. Yeah. It's funny because there's no way I'm buying those cards. Like Scott McTominay has been doing quite well for Napoli. Well, he's been doing okay for Napoli. And Billy Gilmore. And it's just funny to me that those two are like play for Napoli of all teams. But yeah, I mean, they're fine, but they're expensive. Like almost $20 for Billy Gilmore, and McTominay is like over 50. And I'm like, I'm not even going to play these guys. So like, if I'm going to buy guys who help for a collection, I don't want to spend that much. And like McTominay is very good for Scotland. I will give him that, but there's no international break for 4 months. And so it didn't make sense for me to do it. So I have this Napoli collection now, which is kind of fun. It's at 2%. I might try to get, I'm trying to get it to at least 3% because I think it helps. Goose said, is buying a Napoli collection a strategic decision or a bit of fun? It's definitely, it's just strategic. There's no fun. Like I don't have any like reason to love Napoli. I think like I thought Merit was underpriced. I was pretty much looking for a champion goalkeeper outside, basically in Ligue 1 or Serie A to play champion. And I know you can play Prem, Bundesliga, La Liga in champ, but I think most people don't. And so the three guys I was looking at was Merit, David De Gea, and Providel. Providel and De Gea don't play midweeks anyway. Like they don't start for their Europa or conference, whatever the hell they're in. And Napoli's not even in it. So I don't have to worry about that. But they were all like what I thought was cheap. And Merritt had like a decent run of fixtures. And so I got him, and that's just what started it. And I'll get this to 3% and I'll probably stop there because there's not really anyone else that makes a big difference. Like buying Oliveira now doesn't make sense because I can't play him with Merit if I play Di Lorenzo and Buongiorno. And so, yes, he has some international utility like the other two, but I really want, like, the guy that would be really fun to own is Kavicha, and he's just been so bad. And so I just haven't gotten there yet. Mickey said, who is your classic smasher and champ then? I don't have him yet. And I don't want to say who I want because I'm weird like that. I really thought I was going to get one last game week and I didn't. And that upset me. Toby's asking if I have Teji yet. I accidentally have 2 of them. I was sending out a bunch of offers on Teji, and then I saw an auction, and the auction, I forgot to cancel the offer. And so the offer was accepted while I was the top bid on the auction. And that's how you end up with two Tegis. My classic smasher this week for this weekend, Mickey, is Juni Ito. And I don't think that that's like the best smasher yet. And so, yeah, it's a work in progress. So we'll see. We'll see. But I don't know. My challenger, like I was trying to play more in season because like that's the game now. And contender wise, I'm like bare bones now because despite all of the European leagues that are in contender, I tend to play with Argentina and Mexico cards, and they have a little. Well, they're not done yet, but and J League, excuse me. And so those are all kind of coming to an end. Liga MX and Argentina are back in January. They basically do like a winter break, but the J League is going to be done. So I have like a Sanfrecce in-season stack that I've been playing, and so it just felt like my contender in-season rare contingent was set. And Challenger, I basically have like Midtjylland and Sparta, and both of them have been, I don't want to say they've both been disappointing. Midtjylland have kind of been what we expected. Sparta have been much worse than I expected. And I have like some random pieces. And so I kind of was like, do I go into Prem, La Liga, or Bundesliga, or do I go into Champion? And I went to Champion because I like being able to play. I like having more opportunities to find guys who are better than the stars. And that's not to say I don't want to buy the stars, but the reason I love contender is because there's so many players that like if one team goes off, that doesn't necessarily mean you're dead in the water. And if you're in the Prem and like Liverpool smash, and there's just so many people with Liverpool cards and just feels like you can't win. Whereas in contender, like if Zenit smash in season, like who cares? And even if like a specific team smash, Celtic smash, I feel like there are enough other players in contender that allow me to compete. And I've had enough success that I feel like I'm right about that. I feel like I'm right about that. And what I like about Champion is I feel like Ligue 1 and Serie A tend to get overlooked, and because they don't have single league games. And Sorare announced today actually that, well, they announced that they have 17 of the 18 Ligue 1 teams, which I assume means Ren is coming soon, which is great because I'll get my collection badge back. But I do wonder if that means we'll get Ligue 1 competitions. I doubt it because they don't have like a league license. They just happen to like have an individual license with all 18 teams, or they will, I assume. So who knows? But with Champion, it's like, oh, if you don't have Kimmich, oh, the Bayern stacks. And it's like, well, I think maybe there are like more players in Champion that, somebody who can score better than Neuer. And like while Kimmich smashed last week, like if you had, like I think Teji actually outscored Kim. Well, I don't know. Kimmich probably had a decisive, but like Teji had like 75 points. So I think it's a fun way to play. Like that's how I loved to play Sorare, was like digging and finding similar players at different price points that are that allow you to score just as well. Like that's what this whole game, for me, that was what the whole game was about. Was if you want to, and that's why that's why we know players like Cecilia and like the older OGs know like Morioka, because like those guys score well and they can compete against the bigger names. And while there are not that many big names in contender, it still allows you to compete with them. And on the Champion side, I think there's still plenty. Like Champion can be high scoring sometimes, but sometimes it's not. And then you can get away with guys like Merritt and Buongiorno and Davidashvili. Ben said, who do you think the one that's holding out is? It's Ren. Alberico said Bayern stacks hopefully are in the Bundeskamp. So like, surely there will be more. I think enough people have felt slighted of huge scores with their Bayern stacks in the Bundesliga competition that they're going to start putting them in champ. But still, it's not going to be so many that it matters. I mean, it'll matter, but I don't build my lineups like expecting to finish first. And so if I can beat some of them, then that's great. Goose said, "Do you enjoy playing a lot of different regions, or did that happen accidentally over time?" I liked I liked playing more. To be honest, I avoided champ for a long time. I really haven't been much of a champ player, and most of my champ cards were guys who got moved to champ, like Julian Alvarez. I had when he was at River Plate, and somehow I never had an Enzo Fernandez, but like he's an example of like those are the types of players that I had in champ. Teddy Tuma, Juni Ito, and so I do like playing different regions, but champ was a kind of always the one that I avoided. And now I'm not avoiding it. And the reason I avoided it was because it was always filled with that. Like I would have to compete against these Bayern stacks. And it was just like, man, just don't feel like I can do that. And while they're still like eligible for champion, there's just so many fewer of them. And so, and I think some people kind of think that way, that it's like, if they play Bundesliga and like those are the cards that you win when you play the Bundesliga. And so when you have the opportunity to have like a very good finish, like if you win the Bundesliga competition, like you can be like, oh wow, I can win like Harry Kane or Marmouche or somebody like that. But then if you go to champ and you're like your Bundesliga gallery and you win Juni Ito, and it's like, well, what are you going to do with that? That's not going to help you in the Bundesliga. So now you're like have to play champ, which like for some people is great. That opens it up to them. But for other people, it's kind of like they want to win what they have, or they want to win to like help what they have. And winning a Ligue 1 player when you play the Bundesliga or La Ligue, whatever, just doesn't help as much. Sir Malta says, speaking of Argentina, fun fact, love me a fun fact. The Maltese League, which is semi-pro and has 12 teams from next season, has decided to copy the Apertura Clausura system that Argentina uses. Very random and amusing. Liga MX also use it. And I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm fairly certain that the Argentinian Super League will have 30 teams next season, which is a lot of teams. Tobe said they could sprinkle in a few Ligue 1 specials, watch them run a special when Rennes has like Le Havre at home. Yeah, maybe. So Tobias, I'll say Tobias because I noticed that your Discord handle is Tobbe. Do you pronounce that Toby or Tobe? Because Harry pronounces it as Tobe, and he said it, and I'm like, man, I've been saying this wrong the whole time. Mulkey, are you fixture checking for champion? Do you know the weekends when Napoli could compete versus teams in all 5 leagues, or is it set and forget? I looked at Napoli's like upcoming schedules, and admittedly, Gator Guy would be very disappointed in me because they have a bunch of away games. But I did feel like that they were positive, and so I bought in when they were home against Roma, and got a fairly good like. They got a clean sheet, 64 from Merritt, 64 from Buongiorno. Had I gotten Di Lorenzo earlier, would have been 100. I probably still would have captained Buongiorno. I'm not going to touch any of the attackers. I just don't think that they're good enough, to be honest. So that didn't work out. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Hold on. But looking ahead to Napoli, like they're away to Torino this weekend, which is fine. Home against Lazio, like not ideal, but they're at home at least. Away to Udinese, away to Genoa, not like phenomenal, but I'm not like that worried about it. Home against Venezia, away to Fiorentina, Verona. Like it's not until like January that it gets a little tough. Like Napoli's fine. And so what I did not do is like look at other look at other teams in each game week and just be like, oh, are Napoli better than PSG this week? And that is something that I've talked about a lot, that you should do that. But I feel like that applies more to the people who are like, oh, I'm going to make a Monza stack. And the week that Monza play Como at home, that's when I'll win. Napoli are good enough that it's like they're probably favorites somewhere. And so, and I feel like when they are, they can compete against, at least from a defensive standpoint, they can compete against whatever like big stacks are out there. It's pronounced as neither in Swedish, but it would be Toby in English. I wouldn't ever pronounce Tobias as neither or neither. Anyway, Harry's Welsh. I would take pronunciation tips from a guy whose country has 87 consonants and 2 vowels in their lineups. Wouldn't. Yeah. A lot of work to do that, maybe less with Sorare data. It's always less work with Sorare data. Whatever you're trying to do, makes it's easier on Sorare data. Scosmo, what's up? Just joined and seen the title of the stream. Not sure what's been spoken about, but I'd argue one of the biggest issues of the last few years has been playing what's in front of you. Why is that? I find that people are making suboptimal decisions because they are not playing what's in front of them. And they're thinking too far ahead and thinking of things that won't actually happen or could happen. And they kind of play like they will happen. Peter, what's his name? I have a champ and Prem D1 team, and now it's going to turn into a big decision on where my best team goes. Peter. Oh, my God. The answer is both. Play 2. You don't just play 1. Let's make Peter's lineups. Oh, Champions League starting. Mike said I'm in the background now. All right. This is Peter's gallery. By the way, congratulations on getting to Division 1. I know you were disappointed not to get there before MPen, but it happens. So what do we got this week? Some terrible goalkeeper match. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We got Onana. Oh, but he's classic. So we've got Raya away to West Ham. Kelleher, or do you not have Allison? Oh, you do. Oh, classic. But against Man City, you probably don't want that. Nick Pope away to Crystal Palace. Let's go Raya. Mazraoui. This is where we're going to end up having Onana. Bruno. Cunha. Who did Spurs have? Oh, Fulham. Son. And we'll do this. Onana. I like this. Let's captain Son. All right, so that's Prem season, and what do we have for champ? Surely we have something good enough. Raya. Vardiol's fun. Saliba for the... Oh, no, Porro. Porro for the set pieces. Oh, wait, who did Ipswich have? Where was Leif Davis? Ooh. Man, they're that bad that they only have a 19% win percentage against Nottingham Forest. Malta said Captain Bruno, he always smashes against us. Okay. Midfielder, Cole Palmer against Villa as the classic card. We also have Odegaard if we wanted to do that. Saka, man, Salah against Man City looks like such, like it's one of those that like, oh, man. I think I play this in champ. I think this is still extremely competitive. There you go, Mike. Go to community lineups. You can see these here. I feel like Harry trades. Look at me making other people's lineups. Mike said, this is new to me on Wednesday, is normally at footy training, but it's been called off tonight because of a frozen pitch. Because AW pitch frozen? AW, what's AW? This is all I've ever wanted. Peter, if you just join Harry's membership, section, whatever, he does this every week for all of his members. He asks for your top two lineups, and he does them for you. All weather. Oh, okay. So the all weather frozen pitch. I play Madison over Salah if Madison is set to start. I think the match. Speaking of Harry trades, has made me so cautious about Madison. I don't give a shit. I don't have Madison, but he's just like, yeah, he's just not it. Yeah, I would be. And everyone's like, oh, he had such a good game against Man City. I mean, I think you go in every week not knowing that he's going to start, and that's scary. But I guess we'll find out this week if he plays against Roma. The Raya Poro Arsenal, the North London back line there looks kind of funny, but yeah, there you go. Mike said, about time you did some homework for Peter for all the times you've made him do some. That's a good point. It's like this is like by far the least I could do. Cameron said it used to be 3, but Harry's big time now. Oh, that's so funny. Sorry, guys. Used to be 3, but Harry nerfed the lineup building. Oh, that's a great line. Malky said, I didn't know that was possible. Are you talking about the freezing all weather? But anyway, yeah, there you go, Peter. Congrats on your double podium. Oh, it's a Salah special edition. I forgot about that. That's a cool card. This makes me it's in rare. I don't play limited, but this type of lineup. Which one? This one. Raya, Poro, Palmer, Saka, Salah. I wouldn't want to compete against that in champ. But I don't play limited, so I don't have to. But there you go. If anybody else wants to do that, make Peter's lineups, that is. If you just go to his gallery on Sorare Data and you just hit lineup builder, you can choose any lineup that you want to build it for Peter. And then when he goes to his community lineups, he'll see like everybody's lineups. And I think it'll show exactly like who are the most picked of each one. In fact, how about everybody go do that? That would be fun for Peter. You guys could thank him too for all of his work on Essence and dashboards and stuff. Toby said, Laird lineup building stream me next. I'm not very good at building other people's lineups because I just don't know enough of the players. Like that's what I think is so incredible that Harry does, that he just knows so many of these guys. And I just don't. Although I did just go to Toby's, and he has Adnan Januzaj as one of the names of his teams. Guillermo Varela, PK. This is fun. Giuseppe Rossi. Wow. Those are great. What do you guys name your teams? I bet a bunch of you were just boring with like team A, team B. I'm basically running out of fruit is the problem for my lineups. Genuinely. Let's see. I've got, like my champ ones. This is like actually embarrassing for how little I played champ, that I am now down to Jujubee. Oh wait, Jujubee and Cherimoya. I don't even know what those are. I literally had to Google a list of fruits because I just like couldn't think of any more. Mangosteen, that was another recent one. Was this Challenger Classic? Yeah, mango, banana, pineapple. But Toby said United Reserves U23, U21, U18 Legends was my criteria. I need to fill out the rest. Wow, that's awesome. Wow. Peter, dragon. Yeah, I have dragon fruit somewhere. No jackfruit. Where is dragon fruit? Hold on. I'm sure I have it somewhere. Like literally, no doubt. Challenger Classic, Boysenberry, Honeydew Orange. There's dragon fruit. Challenger in season. Super rare. I think I played that once. But you got to name it. Mike said damson. I don't even know what that is. Maybe that'll be the next one. Damson are relatively small, ovoid, plum-like fruit with a distinctive, somewhat astringent taste. Those are two words I've never read my entire life, and are widely used for culinary purposes, particularly in fruit preserves and jams. Sorry, there you go. Ripe damsons. They look like, oh yeah, a combination of a plum and a blueberry. How big are they? They look, yeah, I would just assume that's a plum. Sir Malta, 3 teams. Team 1, please win. Team 2, please no DMP. Team 3, good effort, lads. Lingonberry. I don't know what that is. Ooh, that looks fun. Maybe I should, instead of cranberry sauce, a little lingonberry. Native to boreal forest and Arctic tundra. Wow. It's the jam you get with your Swedish meatballs. Oh, that sounds lovely. Roseberry. What's that? How many people do you think? This is such a dark question, but like, whoa, why do I need precise locations? These look like just dried raspberries. This looks very different though. But I was just thinking, like, how many people have like died from eating poisonous berries because they just see it and they're like, "Oh, let's eat that," and then they die. And other people ate them and they're like, "Oh, this one's really good. We'll call this one blueberry, even though they're purple." Shakhtar 1-0. Love a PSV goal conceded. Yeah, PS like great. Now Biscagli will only score 130 instead of 158 or whatever the hell he does. Anyway, this is turning into Sorare Andrews somehow. But I guess I do need, like, the more I branch out, the more I'm going to need more team names, and that's the problem. Like champion season. There you go. Champion season. I only have 2, and so if I get a third, I'm going to have to name it. It's like one of the reasons I don't do it. What's going on with this one? Oh yeah, I can't possibly play this in Division 1. I've had this Division 1 entry all season. I think I've played it once. I shouldn't be allowed to do that, but I'm going to do it as long as it's possible as I play the game in front of me. Anyway, we're not really talking about Sorare anymore, which is probably time for me to start working on making dressing for tomorrow. I think that's all I was making today. Red currant, very popular here in Czechia. I don't think currants are. I've never heard red currants actually. You can branch out into nuts and seeds. That's, yeah, I could. You're right, but I don't think I have to. If that happens, then there are just too many competitions on Sorare. There are more competitions on Sorare than there are fruits. We've gone too far. It's as simple as that. So yeah. Anyway, I think we're done. Yeah, I think we're done. Sea buckthorn ice cream is lovely. I think we're just making things up now. Sea buckthorn? That sounds like a type of deer. Be honest, I'm not a big fruit ice cream guy. That just looks like yellow, whatever's the inside of a pomegranate. Oh, but it's good for your skin. Hmm. The name sea buckthorn may be hyphenated to avoid confusion with the unrelated true buckthorns. It is also referred to as a sandthorn, sallowthorn, or seaberry. Seaberry seems like the easy one. Anyway, before we go any further, let's just stop there. I don't think we need to go down this road today. Or maybe this is exactly what we should be doing. I don't know. I don't think it's what we should be doing. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go, and I'll see you guys on Monday. If you're watching this on Wednesday, which is when we're actually taping it, thank you very much. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. If you don't, I hope you have a great day anyway. Every day should be a good one. And tomorrow is just peak gluttony for a lot of people, including myself. And so I plan on eating way more than I normally do and feeling pretty gross about it by the end. But I'll be happy about it. You know what actually I'm doing tomorrow? I think I might be running 3 miles. Might be doing a turkey trot, as they like to call it here. But it's supposed to rain tomorrow. And if it's raining, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I don't like to run anywhere, and running in the rain is bad. Mike said, is it one word or two? You mean Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving is one word. Happy Thanksgiving, 2 words. So yeah, I'll be back Monday, and hopefully with like so many podiums that it's just silly, but I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. But yeah, so thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. And I would say like take the next few days off, but don't do that. Just go back through the Sorare data archives, find a show that you haven't seen, and watch it. Simple as that. Go do that. Yeah. So anyway, thank you everyone for coming, and don't forget to get those steps in, particularly after that humongous feast.